let's start with being grateful to all the good spirits and to our Almighty Father God for having this opportunity to be together today to study these laws of interaction between the spiritual world and the incarnated world. May this be useful for us so that we can put it in practice when the opportunity appears in order to do good, to do charity, and to help all the persons and spirits in need. So be it.
Amen.
So we are in section 4, explanation of the physical manifestations. So the spirits can act upon material things. They can lift tables. They can cause the medium to levitate and things like that. And the question is, how do they do that? And I will maybe just quickly go back to item 8 that you have seen last week. How does the spirit move a solid object? Again, it's a dialogue with St. Louis, the spirit of St. Louis, which is answering. It combines a portion of the universal fluid with the fluid emitted by the medium in order to move it. So it's, you see, it's 1.5 line, and but it says everything, Munir. It says everything because how, for instance, you see me now. I'm moving my hands here. Yeah? What is it? It's my spirit acting on the matter of my physical body. You agree? So to see how a spirit can act on matter, you just need to look on the screen or to look in a mirror, and you can see it 24 hours a day. So it is something, if my spirit can act on the matter of my body, we can understand that other spirits may also be capable to act on other material objects. But can they do it just like this without a medium? The answer is, apparently, as per the answer of St. Louis, no, they cannot. They need a fluid emitted by the medium, and the medium is an incarnated spirit. So to act on matter, they need something, the fluid of the medium, which is somehow, somewhere between the spirit and the matter, to enable them to act upon the matter. Okay.
So is it the same method used combining the universal fluid with the fluid emitted by the medium when people do automatic writing? I think it would be a similar mechanism, would it not?
No, because what do you mean by automatic writing when the medium is writing with the hand?
But it's a physical object. So if they are not using the medium's brain but are physically moving the hand to write, it would be the same mechanism as moving a heavier object like a table, surely.
It's probably more simple mechanism. The first thing is Kardec was clearly saying the spirit is acting on the medium's hand. But when you read further, for instance, Gabriel Delanne, with some decades later, with the progress of physiology, knowing better how our human body works, with the motor center in the brain, which then going through the nervous system to the muscles and whatsoever to make you bright. Delanne said, Kardec said the spirit is acting directly on the hand of the medium, but I think the spirit is acting on the motor center in the brain to make the hand of the medium move, So it's probably a more simple mechanism where the spirit somehow goes to the spirit with his perispirit And the medium, which is perispirit, you can have a contact between perispirit and perispirit to act then on the motor center and to make him right, you know. So it's probably a more simple mechanism than this one. This one, really, to move a table, he needs a fluid which is emitted by the medium. In automatic writing, probably there is probably not always need of the medium emitting some fluid, you know. But to move a solid object, like a table, he needs the medium to emit the fluid, some fluid. What is this fluid? That's a big question. We don't know exactly now. Later on, you know, you had William Crookes. Before William Crookes, there was Daniel Douglas Holmes that Kardec could observe the materialization of hands and whatsoever. But later, with the William Crookes and all the successors, they have observed much more. They have seen the materialization of whole spirit, like Katie King through Florence Cook. And William Crookes has put the medium on the chair on, weight measuring device. How do you tell that in English?
Scales.
Balance. Yes,
Yeah,
a scale, yeah.
many
And he
kilos.
was seeing that the medium at the beginning had, say, 80 pounds or 100 pounds. And when the spirit was materialized, the weight was divided by 2. So this is clearly demonstrating that the medium emitted some fluid, which is material because it has a weight. It was measured by weight. Aksakov he wrote a book because he observed that during the materialization, there was a partial desmaterialization of the medium itself. So the braces, the arms, or the legs of the medium were dematerialized whilst the spirit was materialized on the other side. So there is clearly what they call the ectoplasm, what has been called by Charles Richet later on the ectoplasm, is something, a fluid which is material, which is emitted by the medium, and which is needed for the spirit to act upon the solid object or to enable materializations.
Thank you, Charles. That was very helpful and very important. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Charles. It makes me think that when we have a body, when we take up a body, we take up a body with certain fluidic condition that we will allow our spirits through our perispirit constantly manifest through this body, right? Apparently, my perception is that this fluid is not, readily available for us to donate unless we are a medium of materialization. Would that be correct? Because we need probably the same means to communicate through our body. There's something there, semi-material between the perispirit and the body that allows us to interact with the body, but something that we cannot, most of us cannot easily, detach it or move it from us to an object to allow a spirit to manifest through that object. But I think we all have these fluids constantly acting upon our physical body that basically belongs to the material realm. Is something, kind of a matter that, naturally the body presents to the spirit. So the spirit can use it while incarnated, but some people can take that from them and donate, even on a temporary basis, for spirits to use it to move another object.
Exactly. Yes. So it's very complex in case of materialization. This ectoplasm is visible. So we see this white, like a smoke or whatever, and then keep taking the shape of the materializing spirit. When it is for moving a table, not sometimes there are some pictures showing a kind of a lever, a fluidic lever, ectoplasmic lever, moving the table. but most of the time it's invisible. We cannot see it with our eyes. But for sure, there is a medium somewhere, consciently or unconsciously, knowing, being aware, or even without being aware, which is temporarily exteriorizing some fluid in order to enable the spirits to move the object. Because, you have a lot of people, they say, yeah, now with instrumental transcommunication, we make the spirit come and we will be able to see the spirit without medium. What I observed in instrumental transcommunication, for instance, is sometimes when some person is present, it works very well, and when this person is not present, it doesn't work well. So probably that person had the right fluid in order to make the phenomenon possible. And that the mediumistic communication without medium is far from being proven yet. I don't say it will not be, it's absolutely impossible, but whatever the manifestation is, you need somewhere a medium which is giving something. Now, this is somehow contradicting also with something else. When we say, for instance, you have a section in the Spirits book, if I remember well, or maybe also in the Mediums book. Can the spirits act, for instance, on thunderstorm or hurricane or stuff like that? And the answer is yes. So they are acting on something material, isn't it? So how do they do it? Where are the mediums for that? How could they act on these material things before there were humans or mediums on Earth? These are questions that still need some investigation in order to understand better how this question of action of the spirits upon material object is working. We need more investigation on that. Probably this. Yes, Liz.
I know from my training at the IAC in London that part of their job, or shall I say service, when they went out of the body, they were tasked with helping in the other side with the weather, with, as spirits knowingly going out of their body to help with the different things with the, what can I call it, weather manipulation, or sometimes as well, you see weather manifests in our realm when there is a kind of battle going on in the other realms as well. It manifests down here as weather. I have a question going back to our previous subject about weighing the mediums, when they can lose, up to 50% of their weight. And I was wondering whether in any of the records, whether mediums have to be fairly heavily built to compensate, to be able to compensate for that loss of weight, or does it really not matter?
As per the observation of William Crookes, you can read his book where he's explaining it. The medium has half of the weight when the spirit is materialized, but once the materialization stops, this fluid reintegrates the body of the medium and he gets back his original weight.
I know it's returned, but I think it's a lot, if you're fairly slender or very fine of teeth, it's a lot to you to lose in the interim unless they're getting other spiritual support.
So it is indeed something which is astonishing, isn't it? How can you, as the medium alive and staying alive after the materialization, of course, have half of the weight of your body going to somewhere else, out of it, and then come back exactly at the right place? It's something really astonishing, huh?
It is.
Charles Richet was the first one astonished by that. He was physiologist and saying it remembers the histolysis phenomenon, It's a phenomenon which happens, I'm not a specialist, but which happens when the, oops, how do you tell that in English? Chenille se transforme en papillon. Valérie, peut-être tu peux m'aider.
Sorry, she's turning into a butterfly?
Yes,
It's the
you know
chrysalis,
this
isn't
process
it?
when you have the little worm, huh?
Oh, okay.
Then
Metamorphosis.
building a stuff and then going out a butterfly.
Oh, the metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis. Yeah.
Voilà. And there you have a kind of a similar phenomenon where all the matter of the little worm is somehow giving a kind of a soup, and this soup is then being reorganized to form the butterfly.
How
You
beautiful.
know, he was making the analogy of what happens during materialization and what happens in this natural phenomenon which is observed by the biologists.
This is
And
also,
it's really amazing, isn't it? So
that is the divine in action, creation in action, isn't it? You know, you cannot deny that. You cannot dispute it. You know, it's absolutely beauty personified. Yeah, I think
it happens in seconds or minutes. It's very quick.
when you're dealing with materialization and ectoplasm, I think that's one of the most dangerous times for the medium. And a few mediums have died because of that. You know, if there is an interruption during that time, you know, a door is opened or something like that, when they snap back in. Helen Duncan, she died later on, a few months later, after that, when police kind of raided.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. And sometimes, in the case of William Crookes, the spirits gave the authorization, they allowed them to cut a little part of the ectoplasm and stay with it. So this, when you do this, definitively there is some part of the body of the medium which will be missing, you know.
Yeah.
So if it's a part of a skin or whatever, as we make for analysis, it happens in the normal medical life. But if it's a part in the brain or in the heart or wherever, that's then a different story, you know. So this is why I think we have a lot. Science has a lot to do to understand this better. And what St. Louis is saying here in this question 8 is the medium needs to emit some fluid. And this fluid, is it ectoplasm? We don't know. It's not visible. We are not sure. What do we call ectoplasm? Is it vital fluid? You know, we don't know really what is if there is really a difference between the vital fluids, the ectoplasm, and this fluid which is being mentioned here. We don't know exactly if it's the same or not. Anyhow, it is something which must come from something physical which is living, from a living being, incarnated. Munir?
And just to call the attention that he also says that a portion of the universal fluids, in which form? In its original form, you see, apparently there's also another special fluid involved in this, a portion of the universal fluid, but he doesn't say, you know, in which state that universal fluid is, you see? So it's really, really interesting, you know, to see. Yeah.
Here he's writing a portion of the universal fluid, but I think a little bit later or maybe before he's writing, he combines his perispirit, because the spirit has a perispirit which is semi-material, and the perispirit is a condensation of the universal fluid.
Universal cosmos, yeah.
So you know, we have a lot of bricks, but we are not yet able to really put them in exact places. This knowledge has still to be put in more depth. Now, something is needed materially from the medium to enable him to act, to lift a table, for instance. Otherwise, it doesn't work. This is the message of St. Louis here. But is this then 100% going back to the medium, or what I can say, because I started Spiritism in 85, 86 in Brazil, but in 92, 93, I had the opportunity to participate to a group which they were moving tables, you know. For me, it was a kind of a surprise. I didn't expect that, but nevertheless, as an observer, now I am observing what Kardec observed in 1855 somewhere. So it was something, and even so, you know, today to talk about it to you, it was very clear. It is one person, which was the wife of the group leader. When she was there, the table was moving. When she wasn't there, the table was not moving. Okay, so this enables you to suppose the medium enabling giving this fluid was his wife. And another observation confirming this is his wife was systematically tired after the meetings. At a point that, because I told them, look, do not abuse with this type of meeting, you know, the people which are linked to the material stuff. But his wife, tired and tired and tired, after a given time, she was ill and could not participate to these mediums anymore, and the table was not moving anymore, you know. So all this shows that there is a need of a medium able to emit this fluid, so a medium for physical effects. But it's taking some energy of him, it's tiring him physically. So it's something which is not so, how to say, intellectual mediumship is not tiring in the same way. The opposite. A lot of times when you do psychography or psychophony or whatsoever, all these non-material types of mediumship, you are better after than before, because you get a lot of fluids transmitted by the spirits, good spirits which are here, and it helps you to be well. But for the physical effect, and this we can see also from the British literature of these groups which until today are making this type of phenomenon, that it is, how to say, the medium get tired. He cannot do this continuously. Okay. So this is enabling us to understand better how the spirits can move a table. It does not explain us how the spirits can create a thunderstorm. I think this is something different because the meteorological phenomenon, they are more complex. There are a lot of parameters. You see, meteorology cannot make a forecast more than 5 or 6 days, because there is not enough data available. There is not enough power of computing to calculate everything. So this shows that the meteorological phenomenon may not be fully deterministic as we think, and there are somewhere maybe probably some space of a spiritual intervention in them. But that's another story. Camila?
I would like to ask your help, Charles, because I know you and Munir, you both study too much, right? Or maybe others also read a lot about this already, James, I do not. Because you are saying that the medium gets tired, right? Then I wonder if that has no relation with the vital fluid, like the emissions of the vital fluid. And also for me it's a little confused, the universal fluid and the vital fluid, the difference between. If you can enlighten me, I really appreciate.
Yes, this is easy. I mean, the universal cosmic fluid is everywhere, okay? It can condensate into your perispirit. It can condensate more into the physical body or the stone or the earth, the planet, the sun or whatever. But it is also, how to say, another transformation which transforms the universal cosmic fluid in vital fluid. And the vital fluid, just to remember, when the spirit is incarnated, you have three things: the spirit, the perispirit, or the spiritual body, and the physical body. But there is one thing more, which is the vital fluid. Without vital fluid, the life does not work. When the vital fluid is stopping, the life is stopping as well. Okay? So, and when the spirit is discarnated, there is a spirit and perispirit, there is no vital fluid anymore. So clearly the vital fluid is something which is linked to the state of incarnation. So it is something which is close to the physical matter. Nevertheless, until today, nobody managed to measure, to detect, to visualize, or to determine the weight of the vital fluid. Correct me if I'm wrong, Munir. But so we know there is a vital fluid which is something very close to matter, but it cannot explain the loss of half of the weight of the medium, for instance. So that half of the weight of the medium to make the ectoplasm is something more than just the vital fluid which is needed for the life, you know. So, but this is, how to say, my assumption. I don't give here, it's not a demonstration, because in reality, we don't know what is the difference between the vital fluid and the ectoplasm, or the magnetic fluid from the magnetizers. We don't know. We don't know. It's something similar or interacting. Is it exactly the same or not? We don't know. But the universal cosmic fluid is definitively something else, something more primitive, something more universal, as the name indicates.
Could vital fluid be the silver cord, you know, because that's the only thing that disappears, you know, when we die, but it stays with us when we go out of body. That's the only thing. We all have a silver cord. Could that be the vital fluid?
I think it's more than that, because again, the silver cord is mentioned when the spirit is, for instance, when you are sleeping, the spirit goes away. The spirits can see this silver cord, you know. But when you are awake like this, where is the silver cord? Your spirit and the perispirit is linked to your body. I mean, they can see the aura or whatever. They can see something else, huh? But the silver cord is, I think it's a kind of the link between the spirit to his physical body. But what is the nature of this silver cord? It's also something we don't know.
Right.
Sorry, can I follow up with one question more? Sorry, because when I was reading the this part, like recently, I was rereading, and that called my attention the spiritual book, right? Then, because I don't know if my understood was right, but I came with the idea that it is vital fluid, right? When we are sick, we lose the vital fluid. When we are dead, we lose all, like a battery, right? We lose everything. So then it came in my mind, if the things that we think, or our actions, or the things, everything that we do make lose that, and that is that is the root cause of die or be sick or whatever, right? It came to this idea, but I don't know if he's right. My understand. I would like help.
So this is a fundamental question. What is life? That's a fundamental question, and science cannot answer to this. What is life? We can observe life, we see the cells, we see the DNA, with this helicoidal form, how it multiplicates, replicates. We see a lot of sciences, a lot of things. But what is the engine? What is the driving factor behind? This science does not know. And you see, for instance, in medicine today, nobody speaks about vital fluid. Correct me if I'm wrong again, because I'm not doctor. Because this notion of vital fluid, I never heard about it in medicine. You know, we hear about it only in spiritism or spiritualist philosophy. So the medicine has still a lot to do in order to determine better all this, what is life, what is death. So what we know from the Spiritist philosophy is you have vital fluid. When this vital fluid is when you don't have vital fluid anymore, you die. The life stops. But then is this quantity of vital fluid like you put fuel in the reservoir of your car and you have so many liters, and after walking so and so many kilometers, it's finished and the car stops? Or can you refuel vital fluid in the meantime? You know, a lot of people are saying a lot about this. For instance, the magnetizers, the one which are really giving the mesmeric fluid, you know, they have some methods in order to recover some energy. They go in nature, they have some trees or whatever that, according to them, is somehow restoring the energy they have given to the patients, you know. But all this is just, how to say, it's not quantitative, it's just qualitative, you know, and I think all this needs to be investigated much deeper so that we get a good understanding of this. When you talk also about an illness, what is an illness? It can come, for instance, from the perispirit. When there is something unstable in your spiritual body, because the template of the physical body is the perispirit. So when there is something wrong in the perispirit, it will be wrong in the physical body as well, coming out like an illness or whatsoever. No. So medicine is generally treating the effect on the physical body and omitting treating the cause. But the person which is ill, with faith, with prayer and whatever, his mental efforts to correct also the spiritual side, for instance, is much easier or quicker to cure the illness than the person who doesn't do any effort on the spiritual side or the perispiritual side, you know. So this is a global mechanism we know, that the spirits have told. But now, how does it work in detail? It's up to science now to demonstrate it. And it needs a lot of research in order to understand all this better. And medicine will definitively make huge progress when considering also these spiritual aspects and not only the physical aspects. Like Chinese medicine, for instance, they treat the illnesses before the illnesses appear on the physical body, understanding that the illness is already present in the spiritual body, you know. Munir, maybe you want to correct or complement?
No, I just want to perhaps, you know, the analogy I make regarding the vital fluids, I mean, I may be wrong, but I use it to try to understand, because as you said, Charles, we know very little to make, you know, final model about these things or have a final understanding of it. But we shouldn't forget first our physical body is constantly renewing itself. You know, matter that composes us today won't be the same that will compose us in, 7 years. They say in science that in every 7 years, we are basically completely renewed in terms of matter that composes us. So we are constantly renewing our physical body. And the vital fluid is like blood. You know, we use it and we renew it constantly. But the day we can't renew at the same time that we use it, we start to get ill, or, you know, we start to, you know, grow old or have some physical problems. The vital fluid, in my perception, is our capacity as organic beings to synthesize this fuel. You see, we produce it. And with time, we have of course, some of us can, you know, produce a lot, some of us can produce less. It's our personal capacity to do it. And with time, we lose that. That's, you know, a natural process of getting old, you see, growing old. And when we lose too much and haven't got enough time to restore it, then that's, you know, what happens, in my perception, is what happened to the medium of physical effects. She didn't have enough time to restore what she had donated, then she fell ill. It's an imbalance, you see. And with time, It's like a battery. The capacity of storing energy of a battery, every time we recharge it, it loses a little bit. And it's different for each one of us. The same way you buy a mobile phone and you check, oh, what is the capacity of this battery? Oh, 5,000 milliamps or, something like that. So to me, vital fluid is something that our organic body is constantly metabolizing from the fluids that there are in nature around, perhaps directly the universal fluid.
And
But
also in the food, for instance, huh?
Food,
Where
yes.
does this matter, which is replaced in our physical body, come from? It comes from the air a little bit, but it comes from the food, essentially.
Yeah.
But what is food? What is healthy food? Of course, you have excess of fat, of salt, and whatever. This is known by the nutritionist, But there is probably something more. Food which has a little bit more energy, like fruits or whatever, fresh or. There may be we may also get some energy or even vital fluid from the fuel, from the food. Sorry.
Food, yeah. From the air, that when we go to the nature, you see, they say nature provides us with the healthy fluids, but we don't know exactly how, through breathing or just by the fact that we are surrounded by it or.
And you have the Hinduist theory about pranic, some people who do not eat anything. They just feed themselves through pranic fluid. Is it really possible or not? Probably in the future it will be. And maybe it is already accessible for some here incarnated on Earth. But I think for the majority, we still have to have material food to compensate for all these changes. But we need to learn a lot in all these things. And there is a lot of people this is why I'm always very cautious, because you have a lot of people making a lot of statements which are absolutely not proven, and even they make money out of it. So we have to be careful in all this. There is something true, but it needs to be seriously investigated. Patricia had the hand risen also.
Yes, I did. I lowered my hand because Munir kind of answered, because I was going to ask if you could get it from the air.
Yes.
So it's kind of answered. But if you don't mind, I just wanted to understand if the vital fluid is a byproduct of the universal fluid or is different.
It is a transformation, yes, of the universal cosmic fluid. So the universal cosmic fluid undergoes several transformations in order to produce the matter, the atoms, particles, all what is electricity, electromagnetic fields, photons, light. All these are some transformation of the universal cosmic fluid. The same for the perispirit, for the houses and the aerobus in no solar, whatever. All this is a kind of condensation of the universal cosmic fluid. So the vital fluid probably as well. Here again, there is a question, for instance, what is our spirit? Is our spirit also a condensation of the universal cosmic fluid? This is not clear. It has not been clearly stated, yes or no, by the spirits in the codification. It's also a point that needs to be investigated further.
Thank you.
Please?
Charles, if I may just add,
yes.
We could take the example of crude oil. How many products we extract from crude oil? They all come from crude oil, but we have gasoline, we have kerosene, we have all different types of oil, plastic, and so many things that you can get from one single product, which is crude oil. You see?
Comes from nature, by the way.
Yeah.
It comes from nature as residues of living beings. That's what crude oil is. Coming from the trees, the vegetation, whatever. And then if you leave it longer, it turns into carbon. Liz?
Hi, everyone. Have there been any studies undertaken on what it is that gives the accurate answers when we do applied kinesiology or autonomic response testing? Because the body doesn't lie. What is it that's giving the answer? Is it the spirit? Is it the perispirit? Is it a fluid? Do we know?
This I cannot answer because, again, I think it's close to the medical. We would need a spiritualist doctor here to answer this question. Because I don't know. There is probably something like acupuncture, all these things, there is something. But what is it exactly? I'm not capable to answer.
Well, it goes right back to our family constellations and ancestors on the spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional levels. We can get to all of those 4 or 5 levels just through autonomic response testing. I've trained in it, so that's why I'm asking.
When you make a genetic analysis of me, you make of my father and my mother. There is a link. There is a compatibility. This is genetics, which are proving this, and also the affinity of the spirit, the education we received, and whatever. So this is something which is absolutely true. But then, how to use it in order to help our spirit to progress? That's the question.
It does. It really, really does. But genetics doesn't really come into it unless it's an ancestral thing, which we then find out. But it also picks up karmic and obsession and things like that. So that's on the spiritual level. But, the body can tell you everything that's wrong with it, how much, what remedies and how much of each remedy and how to prioritize that remedy. Natural remedies. So something's talking and it's absolutely accurate.
Again, there is, and nowadays you have a lot of other, they are discovering more and more some more subtle properties of the living beings. For instance, I think Guilherme has shared not so long ago news where some Japanese or whatever have detected some light emitted by our physical body. You have how do we tell that this is small animals, insects, which are emitting light during night? Luciole and
Luminescence, yeah.
Voila. So apparently our physical body is also emitting light, but very little. So that's why they had really to have a special device, very ultra sensible cams, in order to detect this light and making the clear difference between this light with the infrared, because infrared is also known. Every body with a certain temperature is emitting some infrared emission. So they discovered this. Then you have some other people. Probably a lot of you heard about the Kirlian photographies. There is a recent. There has been some evolution of that, which is called gas discharge visualization, biowell whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they are really how to say, measuring some what your fingers are emitting, and from that they have a database and so on, which is saying you may have a problem in the liver or in this or that part of your physical body. And when the person then later on goes to have some traditional medical imagery system, the diagnosis is confirmed, So there is also something true behind all this. And that is then linked not to light emitting, but to some micro electrical fields emitted by the body. So there is a lot of new things being slowly but surely discovered. but I think we are still quite far away from having all this knowledge systematized in the manner it should be.
The method you were talking about was from Kellyan photography and auras, and it was Konstantin Korotkov.
Yes, yeah, that's.
He had the machine, but we do this without any machines. This is done just between a third party, myself, and the person we're doing it on. Because you see, we've got photons, light photons, in every cell of our body. You know, we are beings of light as well as energy. So this is where the light definitely comes in.
So you see, this fluid emitted by the mediums that we have here in this answer number 8, the spirits were talking about it. Now we see that the human being is emitting a lot of things, photons, electrical fields, and whatever. So, but we are not yet at this fluid, so we need more progress to get there.
Thank you.
Camille?
I would say because Elise was speaking about the family, right? The genetic. We know that he has some philosophies that believe that we always came in the same family, and we try to work out in some way, maybe, right? Because but in the Kardec, in the Spiritism, I understand that in the philosophy, the difference is that our family is very big. Maybe it's not so small how just the incarnate ones, right? But what she said is something interesting, right? Because in my mind, maybe I'm wrong. That is why I would like to share, and maybe you folks can enlighten me more. I understand that we came incarnating a family, and this genetic part also is part of the things that we need here in this journey, because we can see like the mediunic aspect of the things. Why that came a lot of my attention, right? When I was studying, why some families has many people with these characteristics and the others has none, right? Why one family has so many, right? How that it can be biological, right? And some, I also saw, I studied in USP in São Paulo that they took like 100 or 200 of people that says that he's medium, and they did the test with the DNA, and they found I don't remember the number, sorry, but it was like many specific DNAs in common between these individuals, right? So,
Yes, there is a study which has been published recently. I think Alexander Moreira Almeida is one of the authors, where they made a genetic analysis on mediums and not mediums, and people from the same family is the one which is mediums or the one which is not medium. And the study gave some results. They found out some genes which are characteristic from the mediumship. So again, this is a good news because it confirms what Kardec wrote already 160 years ago, that the mediumistic faculty is a disposition, is something we have in our physical body. So if we can identify now some genes which are explaining that, it's a confirmation of what they said. So we don't have yet, you go, for instance, to the doctor, ask, can you make a genetic analysis to determine if I'm medium or not? We are not there yet, but maybe one day we will get there. So science is progressing, we should not. And then if it's a characteristic of the genetic, since the genetic is transmitted from the parents to the descendants, to the children, maybe there is also some heredity in the mediumistic faculty. Maybe we cannot say yes or no today. So we have to be open to all these questions.
Well, it runs in the mother's line of my family. But that means then I thought if we're all spirit, we're all natural mediums and we haven't naturally developed. But you're saying it's actually could be hereditary and, there's a gene now, so not everybody has it.
Because we must never forget that we are a combination of the genes of our parents, but our spirit is how to say, independent. He is probably, as you can read in Missionary of Light, for instance, there are some explanation about this from André Louis, which makes sense. You come and select the cartography of the genes, of the characteristic of the physical body before you incarnate. And then you have the right ovulus, the right spermatozoid combining, and for it to be male or female or whatever, and some other characteristic. And this can maybe include the mediumistic faculty or not. But again, it's just a tool, just a body. The essential in us is our spirit.
Yeah.
And
this
I
one
just want to add,
not,
Charles.
He comes to the father and mother by affinity, but this one is independent.
Yeah. And just to remind us that brothers and sisters, they come from the same parents, but the genes that they activate, I would say, from the support, all the ones that are available from the parents are different. You see.
And
otherwise, brothers and sisters would be exactly the same, but they are not. They come
and
from
sometimes there is how to say, the genetic map of a children, a baby.
Yeah.
Later on, they made the same genetic map. There has been some change in it. So this is Marlene Nobre in some of their speeches she gave was entitled "The End of the Dictature of the Genes," showing clearly the influence of the spirit on his own genes. And of course, not from 0 to 1, but this can explain the so-called epigenetics, which is also a field to be explored. Why some people have the predisposition to have an illness, genetic illness, and don't develop it, and some others do. There is some other factors to be taken into account.
Well, mediumship skipped my oldest daughter, but my youngest daughter has it. Maybe the other one doesn't want to know about it anyway, but yeah, it's all down the mother's line accurately, it doesn't miss a generation.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So again, there is a lot of investigation to be done in this field to understand fully how it works. The science is progressing, and that's good. But it needs much more progress yet. What the spirits anticipated in this small sentence we have just read again, because we are still in item 8 and we didn't even pass yet to item 9, is full of meanings. You see, we are already almost 1 hour talking about, because there is a lot behind such a small sentence. Patricia?
Thank you. I'm sorry for going back to the discussion in relation to the light when we are incarnated, because it made me think about that maybe is part of being incarnated. Doesn't matter what kind of evolution the spirit has, but because they're incarnated, it might emit some kind of light. Because when I read the book, I think it's Voltaire, I think it mentioned that a lot of people did not emit any kind of light to the spirits. And so maybe when we are discarnated, it's not something that you can consider that as granted.
Yeah, I mean, that's there is light and light, The light I talked about from these Japanese, they had some cams with CCD detectors, which were detecting photons, this particle of light. So it is light, physical light, When we talk about the light emitted by a spirit, it's spiritual light. So it's of different nature, And probably the incarnated spirit emits photons, but emits also some kind of spiritual light, you see. But that is where we have to be careful, to make very well the difference between what is physical and what is spiritual. And sometimes we use the word light for two different things, or we use the word energy also for different things, you know. That's why we rather should, okay, material energy, thermic, or physical or potential or whatever, or spiritual energy, because it's not the same. We have to be
And
very
fluid
careful.
as well, Charles. We use fluids, you know, in
Yes,
different,
fluid
with
is the
different
same. It's a word which
yeah.
has several meanings.
Just before Liz, just because of the Patricia comment, if you will look, we have many people visualize the spirit, right? Which is much light, less light, according to evolution or whatever, maybe a symbol, something symbolic, I don't know. But also in the church, in the old things, we also see that you think from the angels, like
Yes, the disc, huh?
yeah, that I think it has
Aureole.
some relation to
Yes.
that.
So what is this typically? Is it photons, or is it what we are perceiving through our spirit, you know? A kind of a medium, we have the seeing faculty. In reality, it does not see. It perceives, this medium perceives this energy, spiritual energy. And that is when they paint it, they paint what they perceive. But another one may not perceive anything, you know. Why? Because it's not photon. And the photons, when they are in the visible between infrared and ultraviolet, in the visible band, are perceived by our eyes, and it's how to say, something which is purely material. But this energy may be something more which is superposing somehow. And what I told before, the Japanese, it's really, they talk only about photons, so material photons. They are not yet to the point to see what we to enable to visualize what we hear from the spirit. Yeah, the spirit is very luminous, it has a lot of light and whatsoever. That light is spiritual light, is not material light.
Yes, like pure consciousness is pure light, and it is so bright that we cannot see it because it's so dangerous. We cannot get that close to that bright light of pure consciousness. On 6 days,
Consciousness is typically something spiritual, you see. It's not material. Voilà.
Hello, guys. Morning. I just wanted to comment on the fact that have been noticed by the researchers in Brazil about the genetic modification that they can find in people with, like people say, ostensive mediumistic characteristics, let's say like that. The way I see it is like, it's not a genetically, like some people have it or some people don't have it. The way I see it is like these switches that say to us the color of our skin, the color of our eyes. And there is a part in our DNA that, you know, for some people that are more sensitive, that switch is turned on, let's say. But as we can see with lots of studies, including studies with monks, Tibetan monks, about the use of meditation on the body. Like, you know, things, as you say, about the epigenetics studies as well. We are so much in control of what happened on our body. And it's, you know, we are still seeing like the body has this, the body has that, but it is us. It is the spirit that really control that universe. And, you know, everything is so individual. We try to find patterns to be able to explain and kind of make sense of things. but everything's so individual. Like the what is behaved in me is not ever found in anywhere else in the world, in the universe. And every single thing that I live, my experiences, the way I see it, the way I react to it, the way I feel it, is all imprinted in my perispirit. But it all comes from the spirit. It all comes from me, from within me, whether I'm conscious about the fact or not. And Joanna de Angelis says in all her work, exactly this, as she puts, the Trinity is the spirit, the perispirit, and the dense body. But and she even puts health, people's health, as a result of you be able to find that tranquil state, that state of happiness that Jesus talks, that Jesus says, and this is the factor of health, when we find that tranquility.
Exactly.
Not anything that is in the body and we have to do this and that in the body, but it doesn't come from that. It is something from the spirit. And like Camilla said, sometimes you are born in this family and we're born again in the same family. That is very, very relative to the spirit's needs. Everyone have a need. Just like now, for example, we see people with different compositions and like with autism or other needs. We all have different needs. And for some of us, it's imperative for us to reincarnate in an environment that's completely alien to us. So it can stimulate us to develop all the things within us that we have to develop. So it is so unique to each individual. That is, we always need to be, we tend to generalize things so much to be able to understand and simplify things that has no straightforward answer. So we always need to put this in our minds, that each spirit is going to, based on their experiences, the consequences of their acts and everything that's imprinted in the perispirit, they are going to have the incarnation, the amount of vital fluid, the illnesses that they may have to develop. And depending on how I'm learning here, I can skip that or not, or I can make it worse or not. So we are constantly, day by day, acting upon matter and acting upon our own destiny in this sense. So this is just the reflection I wanted to
Thank
say.
you, Lisa. We are a little bit out of time already. Just to summarize what you just said, is Herculanupides, he says we have three things, spirit, perispirit, and physical body. But the boss in all this, what is it? It's a spirit. Spirit determines the two others, and that is then saying everything. Okay, I don't know if there is someone here to make the usual vibration we have on Saturdays. I don't see Pablo, I don't see someone else.
If nobody wants to do, I can try, if you allow.
Okay, thank you, Camilla.
Okay.
And with a special also thought for Roy.
Let's close our eyes. Let's sit in a nice position. And let's elevate our thoughts. To start our prayer today, let's start doing the prayer that Jesus told us, teach us, because it's a very comprehensive. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us the day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Father, please look for us. Give your blessings. Give your glory. Protect us. Protect our family. Protect our brother and sisters, incarnate and discarnate, that always or maybe is along with us. Bring your light for all that are in need now. And thank you for all resources, all opportunities that you gave to us. Give the strength to try to accept it, all that we need to pass in this life, our journey, and also to change everything that we can in ourselves. Thank you, Lord. So be it.
Be it. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a nice day, a nice week. Happy New Year again, and see you soon again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.